are also staying on today. It marks exactly a year since parts of the Charlotte Maxeke Academic Hospital were gutted by a blaze. The closure of the hospital has created congestion for other facilities around Gauteng. Joining us is Dr. Saffy, the head of the Helen Hospital. Dr. Saffy, good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Firstly, a year on since we've had that fire, not significant progress in as far as the reopening, the full reopening of the Charlotte Maxeke Hospital is concerned. How's this affecting you at Helen Joseph?
Good afternoon, Kathy. Thanks for having me on, and thank you for remembering this anniversary of disaster. Unfortunately, the disaster at Charlotte has affected us extremely badly at the Helen Joseph Hospital, because we are very close hospital to Charlotte, about 4 kilometers away. We are the government hospital close by, and thus the patient load from Charlotte is definitely being driven to our hospital, and the pediatric population to the Rahima Musa Hospital down the road from us. Charlotte has opened some of its services, the more quaternary services, very slowly, but the patient load is very prevented from going in as and when there are emergencies. They are blocked, and so we take that load. We have not been given the financial support to handle that load, even though it's now been an entire year since the hospital burned down. And the basic services are still struggling immensely on the floor. Charlotte has opened their quaternary services, fortunately. Initially, even their cancer treatment was stopped, but that has started again. But the basic load is still coming to Helen Joseph, and it is not easy to get patients into Charlotte. Therefore, the patient load is stuck at Helen Joseph, which increases the patients compared to the beds in our hospital. We only have about 600 beds. We do not have enough beds for the load that should have gone to Charlotte, as well as the load that comes to our hospital.
It's an incredibly difficult situation to be put in, Dr. Saffy, especially the issue of, making sure that there are additional resources, specifically financially, that are given to a hospital like Helen Joseph. So what are you doing in the interim? And I wonder how this is affecting you financially, because if you're having to deal, and if you've had to deal with an increase in patients over the last year, but not given the financial support to do that, it in and of itself is a risk.
We definitely are existing in a high-risk situation. I am not in charge of the hospital. I am just the head of the emergency department. And as such, it's very difficult for me to directly demand such requirements, although I know that my CEO has been trying to negotiate for further support for our hospital. We do not, we run out of equipment on a regular basis. Basic things like syringes, needles, catheter sets, other things that people might not quite understand, CVPs, are not forthcoming, and therefore we can't do what one would normally do when one has to deal with an extremely sick or a patient who's had a lot of trauma, to support them through that difficult time. So the doctors and nurses have to struggle on with what equipment we have and try and support the patients to the best of our ability. which is not the standard we are used to.
Dr. Pat Saffy, she's the head of the Helen Joseph Hospital Emergency Department there. As you can hear, that hospital still very much bearing the brunt of the impact of the Charlotte Maxeke Academic Hospital not being fully functional since that fire. It's been exactly a year now. We know funds have been distributed. Unfortunately, big questions about why it is that hospital is still not functioning.